Now, I don't get asked this question a lot, but it's really, really important that clients consider how strong is my trademark actually before they submit it for consideration to the USPTO. And this is because the stronger your mark is, the more likely you're entitled to protection of that mark. Marks are evaluated by strength on a scale by the USPTO. This scale starts at the very low end of generic. Generic marks are never entitled to trademark protection. Generic marks are things that everybody needs to use to describe that particular thing. For example, the word tissue. You wouldn't be able to trademark the word tissue for tissues because they're considered to be generic. The next level up is a descriptive mark. This is still considered to be not entitled to trademark protection unless you can prove what's known as secondary meaning. This means that the name has become so ingrained in the consumer's minds that they automatically associate your descriptive name with the product or service that you're selling. The next step up is suggestive. A suggestive mark is considered inherently distinctive, meaning it is automatically entitled to trademark protection. Suggestive marks don't describe what the marks are or do, but instead suggest. So for example, Shell is a really good example of a suggestive mark because the name Shell you might not necessarily associate with gasoline, but the petroleum products come from shells that are broken down, so it makes sense. So it takes the extra step in the minds of the consumer in order for them to understand where that name came from. And because of that, it's considered a very strong mark. The next two are the strongest, and they're considered arbitrary or fanciful. Arbitrary marks are real words, but they just would never be associated with the goods and services that they're being sold under. For example, Apple. Apple computers, you would never think of an apple along with a computer. However, if the company was trying to sell apples, they would have a much harder time protecting that name. So because it's an arbitrary word that's assigned to a particular good or service that isn't otherwise related with the word, it's considered a strong mark. Similarly, fanciful words are words that are entirely made up. These are words like Google, Yahoo, Bing, things like that. So when considering what trademark you want to assign to your various goods and services, it's really important to keep in mind how strong your mark is. A lot of the clients that come to me choose descriptive word marks or descriptive names for their businesses because they think it's a better mark for them, when in reality, they're picking a mark that's considered actually weaker.